What's up, 301? Carolina Big, Chris Fisher, Jordan, what's up? We'll give it just a few minutes. 5 minutes. Well, 3 minutes. Damn, it's hot. All right. Yo, what's up? This is John from JJ Innovation Garage in the Peach capital of the state, baby. All right, boys and girls. Whew, it's hot. It is 80 degrees. All right, boys and girls. All right, boys and girls. I'm back, sorry. Internet ain't down. Internet ain't down. I don't know who's more excited, you or me. Everybody back? I ain't went nowhere. If you tell me you're here, I'll tell you what happened. Oh, okay. Somebody said the internet went down. It didn't go down. I'm here. All right, if everybody's here, then I'm gonna finish doing what I was doing. I got sweat all over everything. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're here. Besides Mr. J434. Because I am hot, sweaty. I feel like a piece of saltwater taffy. I'm about to eat me some Reese cups. All right, let go then. All right, boys and girls. Here we is. So, boy, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you for the faint heart, one of these is not for you to put together. I'm gonna go and tell you right now. The frame, not so much. Frame's okay. I guess the stuff that's really time consuming is getting these servo motors right. Figuring out. I put the servo motors on like the instructions said, but I had to switch some out because the cable wasn't long enough. Like this one was over there. It's just I'm not gonna get into it, but besides that, everything's done except hooking it to the plasma. It's plug and play. I'm not 100%. Oh yeah, there's not a table. There's not a table. What's up, Ray? There's not a table. So I'm gonna make a shelf. I'm gonna build a shelf to get the plasma up off the floor. The plasma will plug up right here, 240. Here's the ground. I don't have it hooked up because I don't need to yet. I need to get some more wire connect. Shit, I can't even think. I need to get some of these, but bigger ones. They only sent 4, and that ain't gonna cut it. So I go to Harbor Freight. I need to get some that's actually bigger so I can secure this, get it up, because that cable's so heavy. That plasma's got like a 20-foot lead on it. And you would think, okay, well, I was gonna take the plasma and build a shelf on the wall, but then the cable that actually goes from the plasma to right here is not very long at all. So that's that. And then I put all this wire loom on everything. This is 1-inch wire loom. So you didn't have to, I just cleaned it up, and then I wire loomed all that. I did upgrade it to the limit switch here and the limit switch here. So what that does is when this comes over, it hits this and it tells it, hey, look, you've went far enough. And then this right here tells it, once it goes this way, it tells it's gone too far. I have to adjust the height control. I have to program it to tell it where it's at. I haven't done that yet. And then I got to go around and check, make sure all the bolts are tight. Just check, like see that right there ain't even tight. Because it said don't tighten everything, don't tighten nothing until you're done. I know, see, nothing's really actually tight. Well, I took this off because this is tight, but this is not tight because I had the laptop stand on that end and I didn't like it. Then I took it off and I put it over there and I didn't like it. Then I took it off and I put it over there and I didn't like it. And then come to find out the cord that goes from the laptop to this USB input is not very long. So it has to be close. I took the cover off because you got to go in there and rewire some stuff if you're going to run the height control and the limit switch. So if you have to go in there and you have to rewire that, so that's something. You got to make sure the table is square. So it says it's critical to measure whatever the distance is from the table, from the rail to the edge of the table box has to be the same on this side, and that side. Well, this thing is not completely, I mean, it's, so if you try to measure here and then measure here, it's not going to be the same because this thing is kind of flexed a little bit. So I measured from the face of this tubing to the corner of this box, and it's 1 inch. And then I measured from the corner of the box to the face of this tube, and I got a measurement. And then once I got that measurement where I'm at, then I come down here and I measured from the corner of this box to the face of that tubing, and I got 1 inch. And then I measured from here to here, and I got the same distance from here to here, and here to, or from here to here, and from here to here, and from here to there. And then I put a screw in it. All right? And then I put a screw in it. Now, those I put one there and one there, and then I made sure this was right, and I put one there and one down there. Now, you're supposed to put multiples. That's how, right there's another one. You have to screw this water table to the tubing, and then those are watertight gaskets. Well, I only put one in each corner to hold it in place because I'm going to get some more silicone, and I'm going to silicone them, and then I'm going to screw them down. Now, the two tables, the two tubs have to be put together, and they sent you a small tube of silicone, and then I siliconed it, and then let it set for like 3 minutes to get tack. And then I put now it didn't say this in the instructions, but I did it because in my mind, the clamp force. So I turned one this way, and then I turned one the opposite way. That way, opposite way, that way, opposite way. And it probably don't make no difference, but in my mind, the nut is pushing that way. In my mind, the nut's pushing that way. So it's clamping it that way, 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 and that way. And that way. So, and it said let it set for 48 hours before you put water in it. All right. So these are stainless steel strips. Now, these are the drains. I don't really like these, so I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to go to Lowe's and I'm going to find a type of fitting that I can screw in there, and then I can put, see how that drain is? Man, you'll be fighting that thing to death. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take and tie that one into that one, and then what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna run it out to the edge with some PVC pipe, put a ball valve on it, and then use a bucket to catch it. So that's that. I got the braces in, so I got the zip ties just holding it. So that's why I want to get some. I want to get something nice to make it clean up. Ray, this is a computer network controlled plasma table. So I got to order a laptop, and basically what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to program parts like this and cut parts out. So, and I can cut all my parts out. And like I could cut this out, whatever I can draw, it'll cut. So that's that. This one here is the 45. They said that this one would cut up to 1-inch plate if I needed to. I'm not gonna cut 1-inch plate. Probably the thickest I would probably ever cut is 3/8. And that right there is probably pushing it, because 1/4 inch, 3/16, 1/4 inch plate, 3/16, 1/8 inch plate, aluminum, you know, stuff like that. That's about all. Okay, all right, Chris. So here's the deal. That plasma right there was $1,000. It got the whole kit, and that was in there. So if you buy that plasma just by itself, it's $1,000. Now, here's the thing. I asked that. I said, well, I can just get me a plasma from Harbor Freight. And the guy said, that'll be fine, but you'll have to take the plasma apart, and you'll have to solder the wires from the connector. They'll give you the harness, and the end won't have an end like this. And you'll have to, because see this one right here, it just screws right into the front of the plasma. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to go inside the plasma and solder the wire connection to the motherboard. And I ain't doing that yet. I said, nope, I ain't doing that. And this plasma, all this is made in America. Every bit of this. See, this is the plasma right there. Razor weld, made in America since 2013. CNC CrossFire compatible, 3-year warranty. So that plasma hooks right up to their system. So I didn't want to have, I mean, you do have to go in here and do a little bit of wiring for this IHS and the EXP and the torch height controller. You do have to go in there and do a little bit of wiring, but it's nothing major. It's nothing major. You have to take this cover off to do it. So, yeah, so I didn't want to have to, I said, I want a complete kit. And they said, well, you'll have to buy a laptop, and you'll have to have an air compressor, and you'll have to have a dryer. I said, well, you know, a water trap system. I said, well, I have a phenomenal water trap system, but they do highly recommend putting another water trap system on it. So I will get another water trap system. I will, I think I got enough of this to come off of this and come over and drop down and give this thing its own air connection, and put another water trap system on that. That plasma, that table plugs in right there. So I'm going to fix that receptacle. The plasma, this right here was for something, and I ain't got a damn clue what that was for, but I need to open that up and see what that is, because if it's 240, then that means I got 3 hookups for 240. This is for my plasma. This is for my Miller 211. This is for my TIG torch, and these are my 20-foot, 50 amp drop cords that I've made. So I just need to do a little bit of inspection and see what that receptacle is, because I don't have anything on. I don't even know what that was for. Honestly, I don't even know why. Yes. Yeah, I'm automotive. Yes, sir. Ryan, appreciate it. Yes, sir. We do it all. Yeah, it is, Chris. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a 20 amp 250 volt, but that is not my that's not my question. My question is, I don't know why it's there, and I built a shop. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know what it was for. I don't know what it's for. So so I just need to see if I just need to see if there's power in the breaker to that. And if that's the case, then I'll just pick up another receptacle like this, and I'll just bolt it right to the wall. I'll just pull those wires out, take that receptacle out, and just screw it right to the wall. I'll just screw it right to the wall, and then I'll have another one of these just for the plasma. So, Ray, I ain't had no damn dryer out here in the shop, buddy. I ain't got no dryer out here. So, but yeah, that is a dryer plug. Yes. These are 50 amp. These are 50 amp dryer style. Yeah, Anthony, the Easter Bunny brought me this. So I've been right here in the shop. So, So there's some stuff that I got to order on Amazon. It's called CNC plasma table goo or water or something. It's actually, you put it in the water and it keeps the water, it helps keep the water clean so it don't stagnate. It kind of de-electrolysis and stuff like that. So they recommend putting that in the table. Let's figure up how much water these things hold. Somebody, y'all want to figure up how much water them things hold right quick? So where's my tape? Boy, I got a mess, look. Hey, y'all remember Frank's Red Hot? We put that shit on everything. Where's my tape measure? Oh, yeah, 50 amp. Yeah, 50 amp. Yes, sir, 50 amp. All right, let's figure up, see how much water goes in these little. Not see any suggestion on high flow flat. Any suggestion on a high flow, flat face, dry break fitting I can use for a coolant system? I don't even know what the heck you are talking. Ryan, high flow, flat face, dry breaker. I don't even know what that means. All right, so let's do this right here. Well, tell me what you're trying to do. All right, so this thing is roughly 35 inches long by 52. So do 35 by 52. Somebody do 35 by 52 times 2. So do 35 times 52 times 2. Somebody do that for me, so I don't have to get off here. Divide that by 231. 520. Divide that by 231. It's probably not much. It's a hydraulic fitting that doesn't leak when you disconnect it. My car's. Yeah, I knew 520 wasn't it. 3,328 divided by 231. What is that, Chris? $14 gallons. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. They ain't no way. We'll just say 35 times 52 times 2. So 35 times 52 times 2 is 3,328 divided by 231 comes up to 15 gallons. That is crazy. So that table right there holds the same amount of water as that fuel tank that we built the other day. So that fuel tank right there holds 15.8 gallons. That's crazy. So that fuel tank right there holds 15.89 gallons of fuel. It's crazy, ain't it? It's crazy. So that's how, all right. So 15.75 times 8.8. What is that? 15.75 times 8.8. What is that? That's crazy, man. So what's 15.75 times 8.8? What is that? That's how much weight. So there'll be 140 pounds of water. So the water that's in that table will be 138 pounds of water just sitting in that table, because water weighs 8.8 gallons. Water weighs 8.8 pounds per gallon, plus or minus. So just say 8 pounds. So that's 138 pounds sitting on that table. I still got to level the table up and stuff like that. I mean, I hadn't done that yet, but Jay tired. He tired. And then I got to go around and make sure all the bolts are tight, everything's secure, just double check everything. And then I'm going to go to Staples tomorrow and print off the instructions, because I was looking at the instructions on my phone. So I'm going to print off the instructions at Staples, because I have to set this height controller, and it had a bunch of little pictures and whatnot. So I need to print it off so I can lay it out and stop zooming in on my phone and looking at it. And I really don't like the way this is connected. It's got 3 screws. It's got one here. So if you're looking at it like this, it's got 1 screw here, 1 screw there, and 1 screw there. It's like a V. It's like a boomerang. So there's a screw here, so there's a screw here, then a screw here, and then a screw there. And it's like that. So I'm going to, you can actually see it. You see the little plastic insert that goes in between it? It's to keep it where it don't have to be grounded. But also what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ground strap on it, and I'm actually going to, I tell you, it didn't tell me this in the instructions, but it didn't say this in the instructions, but this is what I'm going to do. I am going to come out here, right there, my ground rod, and I am going to actually, I'm going to go in the breaker box, and I'm going to grab the ground lug in the breaker box, and I'm going to run it in a piece of conduit, and I'm going to run it, and then I'm going to get one of them flat bastard. I'm going to ground the table. I'm just going to ground it. I'm just going to ground it. It didn't tell me that in the instructions, but I'm going to ground it. I'm going to ground the table. Just because. Just like I ground vehicles when I'm in the paint booth, I'll ground them to the floor. It's just something I do. I mean, and it might be redundant, but that's what I do. So, oh yeah, somebody asked earlier. So this table here is actually a 4x3. Put a ground rod in. Yeah, well, I got one out there, Chris. You know, the ground rod that's outside. I got one. Now, I could do that, Chris. I could. That would actually be easier. I could just move the table. I could just move the table and take a hammer drill and just, if that's where it's going to stay, just take a hammer drill and drill a hole all the way through the floor. I mean, that's a good idea. And just drive a daggone piece of copper down into the ground about 4 or 5 foot. This concrete's about 9 inches. This concrete's 8 inches thick. So I'd have to drill it all the way through that and then drive a piece of grounding strap, and then I just ground it to the table. Yeah, powder coating, you got to have it grounded. That is true. But that's a good idea. I can do that because it's going to stay right here. This table is going to stay right here, and I'm going to have to get a big-ass blanket, like a shipping blanket or a car cover, and cover this thing up when it's not being used because, Lord have mercy, you know the dust is going to get on it from sanding. But I do have a plan. So I'm going to close all this in. This right here, I'm going to close every bit of this in, and then I'll move this out here, and it'll be in the dry. So if you've seen the thing where it says NGO Designs LLC, that is a business that my son started. It's NGO Designs because he's into machinist and all that stuff. So he don't even know I got this. So when he comes home tomorrow, I'm gonna show it to him, and he's, I'm gonna put his ass to work. I was gonna say little. He ain't little. He's like 6'1". I'm gonna put his ass to work. But so this, when you see me post stuff, I'm gonna post it under my shop page, and I'm gonna post it under my shop page on Facebook. But it's actually gonna be a whole nother business, and it's gonna be his business, NGO Designs LLC, and actually we'll cut a sign out and we'll hang it on the wall right there. It says NGO Designs. So everything that's cut on this table and built out on this table will be built out under NGO Designs Incorporated or LLC. Well, I have in the back there, Chris. Back there in the back, I have metal. I have metal stuff back there. A lathe. I got 2 lathes back there, a stomp press, and some other stuff that's back there. But this thing has to be in the dry, right? There's no seal. There's no. It's an open ceiling, so moisture and stuff like that. So this thing has to be in the dry. So that's why it's here. And then eventually, I started closing this in, but that's about as far as I've got. But if I closed all this in, this would be the clean room, for like cutting and polishing and stuff like that. And this would be the dirty room. That's, but slow steps, baby steps, baby steps. You get sidetracked on some things. Somebody was asking me what the size of the table is. So the size of the table is 36. It's actually 36 by 54 or 52, but the cutting face is 36 by 48. This thing only goes so it only cuts 48 this way. So that is gracious plenty for me. Is that a pilot arc machine? No, it is a plasma. So I mean, no, is that a pilot arc machine? No, it's actually a razor weld. It's actually razor weld, cut 45, CNC CrossFire compatible. And I upgraded it to the torch head like this instead of the regular torch head. Some guys get the regular torch head and then you can use it, whatever. This thing's not going to be taken apart. This is what this is going to be. It's going to stay right here. Now, they did tell me I could get another lead and put into that and then use it like if I wanted to cut something out here, but I'm not doing that. But let me, y'all hang tight. Pilot arc can cut through paint, Russ. Oh, I don't know. So, and then, no, we're not cutting nothing because I don't have a laptop yet. They didn't hear yet. So, I've used one of these. So, I've used one of these tables before, ESOB 200 amp, 20 by 20 high definition. So basically what you do is, it's real simple once you figure out the program, and it's CAD and CAM is the software that's with this machine. So basically what you do is you make sure, you make sure the metal is square, you make sure everything's square, and then you bring the torch head over and you zero this corner. Most time it's just 3 corners, but you zero this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner, and then you tell it to go back to home, wherever you want home to be, here, whatever. And then you nest your program into your piece of metal. So this piece of metal would be, 23 1/4 by 35 1/4. And then you put it nest it in the program to nest your parts to try to use up as much material as you could use. And also, Chris, it says it's in this software that gives you cut time. So there's also supposed to be, Chris, there's also supposed to be a section in this program that gives you time, like build time. So it does it by the inch. So it got pierce time. For an example, I was reading it earlier. It'd say like pierce time, 1 minute for the pierce, and then 7 minutes to run the part, and then a pierce, 1 minute for pierce, 7 minutes for the part, pierce, 1 minute, 7 minutes. So that's 3 times 7 is 21, 22, 23, 24. So that's 24 minutes. So that's 24 minutes of cut time. and then it has a formula on there. On the software that I was reading last night, that it has a formula on there, so it'll be 24 minutes cut time. Now that's not load. So if you loaded the material, so that's 24 minutes. You loaded the material, it says give you like 5 minutes to get everything where it needs to be. So that's 24. That's 20. That's 24. Then 5. So that's 29. So that's 30 minutes. That's 30 minutes of labor, right? And then it says whatever your shop labor rate is. So if it's, let's do something even. So if your shop rate was $100 an hour, that's half an hour. So that's $50 for labor plus the material. So whatever the material is, you charge the whole material, right? So you charge the whole material. So you would say 23 times 35, and then you get the square inches, and then you divide it by 144, and then you find out how much this aluminum is. This is 5052 aluminum. Then you find how much this aluminum is per square foot, and then you bill it. So you got 30 minutes cut time, and then you got the material. Let's just say it was $100, right? So now you got $150, and then let's say it took you 30 minutes to program the part. So there's another $50. So you got $50 for cut time, $100 for material, half an hour for programming. That's another $50. So you got 50 and 50. That's 100. And then you got $100 for so that's $200, if that makes sense. Holy shit, what's going on here? What in the hell? Woody sent. Woody, I'm telling you what, man. You are something else, dude. Dude, that is very kind of you, man. That's very kind of you. So basically, stuff like this, I got a bunch of these. These are World War II Skapuis, stuff like that. So that is that's basically how it would work on your cut time. So so that's basically how it says you figure up for your and then it has it or your consumables, right? So then you got to figure up your consumables. They said that one tip, I think you could get like 1,000. I'd have to go back. Don't quote me on it because I'm still learning on these consumables. I think that lady said you could get 1,000 pierces out of one tip. I don't know. I have to double check. I'd have to double check. But what I did do is I took one of these little general toolboxes. I put me some spacers behind it, and I screwed it to the wall. And I'm gonna get me some. I'm gonna get me an Allen wrench. I'm gonna get me an Allen key for these right here. I'm gonna get an Allen wrench, a T-handle for these right there. Anything. Also, a magnet. I might make a little bracket to hang a magnet so you can get your parts out of the water. This is stainless, so a magnet won't stick to this. I've already checked it. Look, these are steel. Those are steel. But the actual table is stainless. But do that, so this thing has its own tools for itself. And then put them in here. Here's some of the stuff that, so I got to still, right here, the torch firing hardware, I still got to do that. And then this is all I have left, parts-wise. And then it came with one tip. So, and then there's the book, what little literature it comes with. So, I put everything in this little toolbox right here so I wouldn't lose it. And I took that drawer out. I took it apart, and boy, let me tell you something. It was something getting that sun gun back in there. It's got 5 ball bearings on the top and 5 ball bearings on the top. So that right there is going to work out pretty good. So that's where we're at on that. This is the laptop stand. I have it super tight so it don't go nowhere. And then this right here, this will move. I might have to cut that zip tie loose because I don't like the way it's doing that on those wires. So I might cut these loose from that and just leave it right here at the base. Yeah, I don't like that. But this right here is supposed to move and get it to go back and forth or whatever. So it's gonna be a few days before I actually get going. Like I said, once the laptop comes, I gotta download the software on the laptop, and I just bought a refurbished laptop off of Amazon. I didn't buy no brand new one, but that's that. So any little parts and stuff and hangers, and I'll just get some scrap sheet. Well, I'll just start buying metal and start making like airbag brackets and little clips and little hangers, and we'll start hanging them on the wall. And so I'm really excited about this. And like I said, my boy, he ain't come home yet. He comes home tomorrow, so I'm going to show him, and he's probably going to be happier than a pig eating shit. But I will say this. I don't talk about money on here, but I will say this. When I do get stuff cut out, every time when I draw out the part and I take it somewhere to get it cut, right? And there's nothing wrong with the guy that cuts my parts. He always cuts my parts out. This is just try to do more in-house because I really hate asking for anybody to do anything. And plus, it just holds up productivity. So when I need something cut, I'm not impatient, but I need it like in the next, few hours. And I don't expect anybody to stop what they're doing to do what I need to be done. So that was another big reason why I went ahead and got this. So you think about it, I'm averaging $200 to $300. I'm averaging, let's just say, every time I get something cut, it's either $100, $150. So if I do that 5 times a month, right? So that is, let's just make it $100. That's $500 a month, okay? Well, if I do that every month for 10 months, that's $5,000. You know what I'm saying? That's $5,000. That's $5,000 that I've spent hiring somebody else to cut the parts out. Now, $5,000, the machine's paid for itself. You see what I'm saying? So I told my son, I said, you have to pay me back for the machine. So your company, NGO Designs, LLC, has to pay me back for the machine. So you owe me $5,000. And that's what I'm going to talk to him tomorrow about. And he'll be fine with it. So you think about if he cuts little parts out and then he tells his instructors that he's got a table, then maybe he can pick up some side work. And let's just say he cuts out a bunch of parts. Let's just say he generates himself $1,000 a month on this table, right? That's $250 a week, right? That's $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. And then if you take $5,000 off of that, divide 5,000 into 12 months, and that comes up the payment he can pay me back on the machine, and the machine's paid for, and after a year, it's all profit. You see what I'm saying? So I'm numbers, man. I'm numbers. There's a lot of things that you might get on me, but Built on a Budget said this the other day when he was up here. And I don't know if Bilt's watching this. He's probably not. And he probably won't even watch this video. And that's okay, too. But Bilt said this. He always calls me the Mr. Internet. If Internet had a face, Jay knows this and Jay knows that. And when he says that, I said, man, y'all not say that. And he's like, no, you know a lot of stuff. And it's because I read. I read a lot. Shit'll pop in my head at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll look it up. Like, one time I wanted to know how much rain, let me ask you this. How much rain do we get if it rains? How much rain falls on an acre of land, the surface of the land, acre, 1 acre? If an acre was square, if you had an acre of land, it was square, and it rains 1 inch of rain, how much rain do we get? I asked somebody that one time, and they looked at me like I was stupid. I got to plug my phone up. They looked at me like I was stupid, and I said, hey man, how much rain did we get last night? How much rain did we get last night? And the guy says, we got 1 inch of rain. And I said, no. I don't, this thing ain't gonna stand. Come on, girl, stay right there. Don't move. I asked the question, I said, if it rained 1 inch of rain, how much rain did we get? And he goes, we got 1 inch of rain. I said, no. How much rain did we get if it rained 1 inch of rain? He's like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? We got 1 inch of rain. I said, no. It rained 1 inch of rain. 1 inch. How much rain did land on an acre? He goes, I don't know. I said, I woke up one night. And literally, I woke up. How much rain? And I figured it out. I got the books out. I got the formula out. I figured it up. That's how I know length times width times depth divided by 231. That's the formula. So think about it. 3/4 of... Ray, you funny, man. You funny. That's how I figured it out. So how much rain runs off your roof of your house into your gutters? And he goes, I don't know. I said, all right, let's do this. Let's just say, let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. And he's like, dude, what in the hell is wrong with you? I said, just let me show you. All right, let me show you. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready? So if you got a roof of your house, right? Right? This is the roof. Right? All right, this is the roof. All right? This is your roof. All right? And your roof this way is 20 foot. Right? And from the edge of the facial board to the top or the hip or the crown, whatever you want to call it, is 10 foot. Right? Well, you got to convert that into inches, right? So 120 inches times 240 inches times 1 inch. Somebody do that. 120 times 240 times 1. And tell me the number you get. And he's like, what does it matter? I said, I just want to know. And then you divide that by 231. You divide that by 231, and that tells you how much rain run off your roof of your house when you got 1 inch of rain. And he's like, dude, what is wrong with you? I was like, nothing. I just curious. So, and then I was like, huh. So, and then I said, well, how much rain did we get on a square acre? So the next thing I done was I figured up a square acre, right? I figured up a square acre, all right? So if you got a square, if you had an acre that was square, which it ain't square, but if you done that, I figured up length times width times height and divided by 231 if we got 1 inch of rain over a square acre, and I figured up how many hundreds, thousands of gallons that we had. And that's like, well, that makes sense. when we get all this rain and it runs off everything and the ditches are full and the rivers are full. That's where my brain goes. Goes down the damn Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole. I figured up how much wood filled up my wood crib. How many square, so crazy, dude. We could go down a rabbit hole just like crazy. Crazy, just crazy. Like, here's something to think about. Chris, you still on here? Here's something to think about, Chris. Chris, I got a question to ask you. Let me know you still on here. Ray, you talk. All right, Chris. So every vehicle on the road and cars, trucks, motorcycles have what on them? Tires, right? Tires. And everything rides on the road has tires on them, right? And tires wear out. So you'll have a tire that's like this, and then it wears out over time, 60, 75,000 miles, tire wears out. So a tire is made of what? Rubber. So when the tire wears out, the rubber is wore out, right? It goes on the road or whatever. Then you multiply that times all the cars that's on the road. Millions of cars on the road, right? So if all these cars on the road and all these cars have tires on them and the tires are wearing out, the tires are wearing out the rubber on the tires, right? Right? Why ain't the ditches full of rubber? Why ain't the ditches full of rubber? So, welcome to my world. This is why I don't sleep. Because I just think of just stuff that has absolutely... Why aren't the side of the roads full of rubber? See? Now, we're all going down the rabbit hole together. I know it's dust, but it's still rubber dust. You got 100 million vehicles on the road. Why ain't the ditches full of dust, rubber dust? Yeah, I know, but you see, I know that it's gone and it rains and it washes in the ditches and it goes in the drains, goes to the sewer plant, goes in the rivers, goes to the ocean and goes sees, and it ends up in Bikini Bottom with SpongeBob and Plankton and Patrick and all that stuff. See, Woody's picking up what I'm saying, and they worried about us duck hunters using lead shot. So I know where it goes. But you see what I'm saying? That's a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit hole. It's just, you know. And why does a compass point north? And it only points north because it points north. But what is true south? What's true south on a compass is not actually true south. And you're probably saying, Jay, what are you talking about now? So when I put my solar panels up for water, oh yeah. Dude, Chris, this is me 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. I don't sleep. And it ain't got nothing to do with caffeine. It ain't got to do with none of that crap. I put my solar panels up for my water heater, my solar panels for heat. And they told me that I needed to set them up true south. And I was like, huh? They said, you need to set these up true south. And I was like, you need to get the south sun. And I'm like, you mean you want me to get the east sun? They said, no, you need to get the south sun. And I'm like, well, that's south. So it's probably backwards, y'all. So that's south, that's east, that's west, and that's north, okay? And they said, well, I understand that. You need to face your solar panels that way. And I said, that's east. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. They said, yeah, I understand that, but true south. So I'm like, okay. So I go and I Google, what is true south? Google what true south is and then get back to me. So my solar panels are facing that way, which is east, according to a compass. But according to NASA, true south is that way. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Frank's Red Hot, we put that shit on everything. There's magnetic north and then there's north. There's south and then there's true south. And how come nobody can't fly over, how come nobody allegedly can fly over to the Atlantic, or not the Atlantic, the Antarctica? And how come old maps of, in 1960, 1958, 1959, somewhere around there, the first satellite image of the North Pole, y'all Google that and then get back with me on that. The very first satellite image of the North Pole. Then get back to me on that. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And I tell you something else. If you ain't got one of these right here, magnets don't move. If you ain't got one of these right here, if you ain't got a battery operated grease gun, I'm going to tell you right now. This thing right here is the cat's moyow. Not meow. They don't need no commercials. That's another good question. How come Chinese food don't have Chinese food restaurant? How come they don't have no commercials? They don't need no stinking commercials. They got it figured out. This thing right here is the cat's mooyow. I'm telling you right now, boys and girls. This thing right here is like pocket on a shirt. If you got any kind of equipment, lawnmowers, tractors, trailers, anything, you need to get you a daggone battery-powered grease gun. Hey, I eat frog legs. What's wrong with frog legs? Ain't nothing wrong with them. And no, they don't taste like chicken. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. This is a Reese cup. Frank's Red Hot. We put that shit on everything. So, let me tell you something. I got another prize. I just forgot all about it. Let me unplug my phone so I can show you. We can open it together. So, I got this in the mail, and I didn't even know what it was. I got this in the mail, and I figured we'd do this together. So I got this in the mail, and I didn't even know what it was. And I was like, what in the hell is that? And then I went to open it, because I didn't order nothing from PM Performance. I didn't know what it was. And I went to open it, and look, it's green. And I said, let's wait. I said, let me wait till my YouTube family comes on here, and we'll open it together. So, I don't know what it is. That's wheels. Did I break it? It's a goddamn chair. Well, how about that? Hey. Somebody out there is paying attention. 24 in here. Son of a gun. So a subscriber, I got this yesterday, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know it was here until I got back. It was thrown up underneath the canopy out there. It was thrown up underneath the canopy. I thought it was trash. And then there was a note on it. I opened the box and there was a note. So a subscriber, I guess they was watching my video and they seen me fall over on this is an old video. I had one of those chairs and I fell over on it and I threw it in the dumpster. And they said that they hope this chair did me better. Don't look that hard. Oh, shit. We're gonna have this thing put together lickety split. You guys cease to amaze me, man. I swear. I mean, I know people say they got the best subscribers, but I mean, I'm gonna call Chris out because he sent me he texted me, and the reason why I'm gonna call him out is because he texted me, and he said some very, very kind words, and I said something back to him, and I know text messages has no meaning, right? So text messages has no dialect, has no meaning, has no, woo, that's some badass shit, boy. You know, if I text you that, you'd be like, badass shit, you know. But if I send you a voice text or I told you in person that, boy, that's some badass shit. It's got a little bit of feeling behind it, you know what I mean? So Chris sent me some very kind words of encouragement, and I replied back to him, and I said that it's very humbling that complete strangers, and that's what I mean. I mean that in a good way. Complete strangers just send motivation to me and they don't even know me. You know what I mean? Like know me.